I want to make here is that every one of those things that I just listed here, those are all really good reasons for not showing up to class. Every one of these is under the description for me of life interrupting school. You know, it's just those things happen. But the question that I want you to answer for yourself, you don't have to answer it for me, is when you don't have an emergency like this, do you always faithfully show up to every one of your classes, even when it's a hassle or even when you don't feel like it? Some people are really good with that and they always show up faithfully unless they have an emergency. Other people have a hard time with that, and sometimes they just say, you know, I've had a long week, I'm just taking the day off. Or they have a morning class at 8 in the morning and they hit the snooze button for the 4th time and then they just say, oh, forget it, and then they go back to sleep. Usually students who have very, very good attendance, almost always on average, end up with higher grades than people who miss class a lot, and that should make sense to you. But again, there are certain students every semester of mine who want to do well, want to try hard, and so they have all the ability to do well, but they just have a really bad semester where they have a death in the family and then they're sick for 3 weeks or whatever, and it's just hard for them and there's nothing they can do about it. But I'm going to write one thing up here on the board, and this is just for your information. Last semester in my class, I teach a class that is pass, no pass, so there are no letter grades, but it's C or above, you know, or below. Those students in my classes who ended the semester with anywhere from 0 to 3 absences, so they were good, you know, almost always there, 92% of them passed my class. It's a very high number, right? Those who were, and so that like 8% who didn't, and then those who were absent a lot, like 4 to 6 times, they dropped all the way down to 50% who passed. And so it's not just showing up, because you have work to do, you have tests to take and all that, but when you show up, you always know everything that's going on, you hear everything the teacher teaches, and it helps a lot. So sometimes students don't do well in college because they just aren't very disciplined in showing up whenever they possibly can, unless they have an emergency. So again, the question is, how do you do personally on that one? Now, number 3. This has 3 parts to it, so I'm going to talk about each one just for a minute. A lot of students don't do very well at this, and I don't know what your reaction is going to be when you read it, but that's true of a lot of people. It says, number 3, if they have to be absent, so if they have an emergency, they do 3 things that are designed to help them not fall too far behind and improve their chances of doing well on upcoming tests and assignments. The first thing they do is they call or email the instructor as soon as they know they'll miss class in order to find out what will be done during that class meeting and anything they will need to do before the next session. Okay, I want to stop there for a second. When a person has a job and they have a schedule of job shifts and they find out that they are not going to be able to make it to work, what do? Yeah, they call. Do they have to sort of remember to do that? I don't think so. It's just sort of habit, like, oh, I can't make it in, pick up the phone and call. Well, the question is, when you know you're going to miss class, do you automatically run for the syllabus and get the phone number or the email address and contact the teacher? Some people do that well. Other people say, I never do that, never even think of it. And again, it's just a habit. Well, those of you who have classes that meet once a week, this is especially important because I've had students in classes that I teach that are once a week